Hello, Julie here and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm sharing with you how I created this art journal page. It is from my ring bound art journal. This art journal started life as a happy planner notebook. I wanted to have a ring bound art journal, so what I do is I use glue to attach two pages together to give it that extra thickness, and then I give it a coat of white gesso so that I can use any mediums on it. I'm going to use birds as the focal point on this page, so I decided to use my Papercraft stencil called Leaves. And I'm going to put some modelling paste through this stencil all over the background. Stencil's a very open stencil, so you have to be very careful when you're applying your modelling paste that your pieces stay in place. So I've used both hands to apply this, one to hold the stencil in place and one to actually apply the texture paste or modelling paste, the same thing. I wanted to have something a bit different than a tree branch for my birds to sit on, so I'm going to attach some of this very beautiful lace to the bottom section of my page. I'm going to attach that using some Mod Podge. I'm applying some Mod Podge to the lace. I'll also apply some to the page. Then I'll stick one on top of the other. To create my birds, I'm going to use this Dina Wakley stamp called Scribbly Birds. I'm using my stamping platform and I'm going to stamp the two birds that I want onto some white cardstock that has had a coat of clear gesso applied to it. I'm using Stays On Jet Black ink to do my stamping because it is waterproof and won't smudge when I apply colour to these birds. Now I had a bit of a video malfunction here. I thought I was recording and I wasn't, but I'm using my Dylusions London Blue shimmer spray and a Dylusions Dirty Martini ink spray and a Perfect Pearls Green Patina ink spray and some water to apply colour to my background. I wanted the blue more to the top and then the green to come all the rest of the way down. I'm spraying this into a spray box, which is actually an old pizza box, and trying to keep it contained so it doesn't get all over the place. Once I had the colour where I wanted it, I used a Artiste spritzing ink in gold just to give a light coat over the top of everything so that I get a nice golden shimmer. So I'm going to set that background aside to dry, and I'm now going to use my Distress inks to colour my birds. I'm going to use my blending brushes to apply the ink. I start with the candied apple and I start from the top of the bird and blend down. Once I have got a coverage of that on, I then go to the festive berries because I want a bit darker along the top. Then I move on to mustard seed and work my way up from the bottom, and as I blend the two together I get a sort of a orangey corally colour. I go back over the centre section with a ripe persimmon and then a little more of the mustard seed to the bottom area, trying to give that a bit more yellow. Once I've got my birds looking how I want them, I use some matte spray to seal them because I don't want them to move when I apply glue over the top to attach them to my page. To add a little more detail to my background, I use this stamp and my jet black Stays On ink and stamp over the whole of the background with the black. It just leaves a little black dot and a few lines. I fussy cut the birds and I cut the legs off because they were just too spindly and I didn't think that they would work over the texture of the lace. So they'll be sitting on the wire, not standing. To create a little bit more interest in the background, I'm using some white acrylic paint which I'm watering down and then using my fan brush to create splatters all over the background. When my splatters were dry, I used my Matisse matte medium to attach my birds to my page. I have given the back of the bird a coat of the medium and the page a coat of medium, and then a coat of the medium over the top of the birds once I have them in place. The reason I put a coat over the top of the birds is because the distress inks do move if they get wet, and I want to make sure that the colour stays where I want it to stay. So for my title, I used my scan and cut, and I printed out or cut out from black cardstock, Don't Just Fly, and then from white cardstock in a different font I cut out Soar. I'm going to use the negative of my letters to get the spacing correct, so I'm going to just place that down on my page. Then I'm going to use my art glitter glue to attach my actual cutout letters into the spaces from the negative. That way I know that they're going to be in a straight line and they're going to be positioned correctly. I used the same technique for the word soar. I've done this in white and a different font and a larger font so that it stands out more. I tried a couple of different fonts for this word, but ended up choosing this one. To shade around my birds, I use my Stabilo All pencil in black and my water brush. I draw around the outside of the bird with the pencil and then use my brush or water brush to smudge that out so that it actually makes the bird look like he's sitting in the page instead of just on top of it. If you get too much or it's too dark, you can always wipe some off with a dry cloth or just add more water to it and spread it out a little more. Time now to do some detailing. I'm going to use my Uniball Eye Micro Black Pen by Mitsubishi to just reinforce the dark lines around the bird, so they're scribbly, sketchy lines, and also I'm going to use the same pen to put a scribbly outline around the word soar. I'm also going to use my Posca paint pen in white, it's the 0.7mm one, to outline the black letters of my title and to put a little bit of white detail around the bird. I keep some watered down acrylic paint in both black and white in a fine line bottle, and I'm going to use those to put a border, a scribbly lined border around my page. I'll do the white first and then come in with the black. When I had another look at this page, I thought the border was a bit too light, and I may well go back in and do a darker border all the way around, maybe with some black ink or something like that. Anyway, that will finish my page for today. I really enjoy working with these sprays. I think you get a really good effect, especially when you've got some texture paste or modelling paste behind it. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this video, and I hope that you will join me when I post my next video. And if you're not already a subscriber, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. Thank you for being here.